my goal is to try to get people who can't understand where we're coming from, where you see what's going on in the world right now. I panicked a little bit. Hey man, it brings back the old days. But
I was always ready to go.
Anytime you show up to the party with this, it better be drinking.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Time. I lost track of what episode this is, but yeah, we're gonna dive right on into this NBA trade deadline. I think it was kind of a quiet trade deadline this year. What do you think, James? Any big splashes that you heard?
No, I feel like it's a bunch of mediocre names that have been floating around.
Yeah, so
nothing crazy.
Essentially, I want to talk about the Lakers and the moves that they didn't make and find out on your end if there's anything that you feel that they should have. I see a lot of trash talking about trying to trade away a couple of the young guys and not going for a Kyle Lowry. Personally, I don't think it really brings any benefit to the team.
I don't think Kyle Lowry is leaving anywhere. I think he's a Raptor. I think unless he's gonna go and be like one of the top 3 guys, because right now, I mean, he'd be a Laker and be a top 3 guy, but I don't think he's gonna necessarily has to go to a team with LeBron. You know?
Yeah, and I don't think he actually brings any added benefit. I mean, you got Schroeder there who's dropping about 20 points a game, so they kind of cancel each other out. I think the good move would have been because his contract is up and they're nowhere near, making any contract extension talk. So a lot of Laker haters are bashing him, saying they're not going to win. I still think they got a really great chance once AD and LeBron come back. I think they'll be the number 1 team again. I don't think they need a home court advantage. They'll definitely, have a chance to win in the finals. I would love to get some input from Ken on what he thinks with the Lakers.
Well, he doesn't like the Lakers.
Oh, you don't like the Lakers?
If there was a team in LA that was like not the Lakers,
so like the Clippers? You're a Clipper fan? You're an Angel fan, so it kind of goes hand in hand.
all right. Well, if you guys are gonna kind of push my hand here a little bit, which is fine. My thoughts on Kyle Lowry is just more along the lines of, I think during an NBA season, people can get injured, right? So I think you kind of want to have somebody there to kind of balance that out in that scenario. I do think too, with somebody like LeBron and the AD on a team, I think that you don't really have to worry too much about chemistry and things of that nature. So I think he could come in, he could kind of fill his role, especially with both of those guys I just mentioned out, and I think it gives you a little added strength on the floor during those kind of situations, something to help get you ensure you're playoff bound.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't know what is it with NBA fans or just Laker fans in general, because I'm a Laker fan, but people turn on like the GM already. Like everybody was praising him last season in the bubble, everything he did, got AD, obviously got LeBron before that. And now they're hating on the guy. They're saying, oh, he fucked it up and good job. Like, how do you go so quickly from succeeding and winning an NBA finals to being a fuck up again or something like along those lines?
Well, first off, you're in LA, man. So that's, that comes with the territory, right? It's a gigantic market and a culture of winning. So if you put yourself in a position to be in that, I'm sure the GM's fine with that. He's sure he understood that going into the job. But I mean, it's us, it's people. Really, you got to pay no attention to it. But instant gratification is one of the things I think everyone's looking for. And so if you don't agree, everyone today has a voice. And so now if you choose to listen to it, you get to listen to it. But it's really just talk.
Yeah, I feel like first of all, there's a lot of Laker fans out there that aren't sports people. So let's just say people who talk shit on the organization don't understand that. Like, for us not to make so many moves is because who was the team that made the most moves in the offseason? Signing the people that you didn't expect them to sign. You didn't expect them to go and reload the way they did in the offseason, but they went and they made the most noise, in my opinion, in the offseason. So when it comes to this trade deadline, like I said, a lot of mediocre pieces flying around. I didn't expect Kyle Lowry to go anywhere. I expected him to stay put. Yeah, his name came up, but why? Because the Raptors are not that great. Yeah. They're mediocre. They weren't even the team they were last year. They weren't. So Kyle Lowry's irrelevant. So you look at the other pieces that are there. Are you going to get better by making a run at him or trading away some of these young guys? These young guys are there to give these veterans minutes on the bench to kind of rest up in these games. And when it comes down to the playoffs, that's when you already got a strong team. Yeah. You're going to have LeBron and AD playing at probably like again optimal performance. AD hungry still to go back to back. So we're gonna see what the Utah Jazz are made of in the playoffs. So you got things that I mean, there's not really you're not like I get it like last season and even the season before that and the season before that you were preparing to go up against a powerhouse team. Utah Jazz is unproven. So yeah, they may be a good team, sitting number 1 seed in the West right now, but they're unproven. So you don't really need to stack the deck against a Utah Jazz. You just need to figure out who they are this year. Right? Like
either you beat them early in the series or early in the playoffs or later in the playoffs, right? Like I mean, that's how I look at the Jazz.
And I think to the mentality of a champion, I think ultimately it doesn't matter who you face, right? I think the Lakers know who they are and what they got. You got LeBron, you got AD. They come back healthy, they're right back at the top, like I mentioned earlier. But I think people forget that you still have that buyout market where there's a lot of big men, a lot of players that are going to get bought out, and you could get them, on the cheap. So I don't think it's over for the Lakers. I also don't feel like it's necessary that they need to necessarily make a move. But if they do, I believe in the organization. I believe they'll make the right decision, and I believe they'll get the players who they need. Ultimately, I believe that they will be the NBA Finals champions, right? Regardless of what seed they're in. But one thing I did want to kind of bring up for the trade deadline, there was a move that was made, and a certain player was traded to the Atlanta Hawks.
Lou Will.
Lemon Pepper Lou.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. First of all, I don't really understand that trade. Right?
Agreed. Yeah.
I don't understand why you would allow Lou Will to go to Atlanta, and then who they
Rondo.
Okay.
Rondo.
Okay. So Rondo, I get what he did for the Lakers, but he had these people around him, right? And yeah, he could be that guy in LA, but it's not really the same style of basketball that the Lakers play.
Yeah.
The Clippers have they got Paul George, they got Kawhi, but Rondo was facilitating these very, very unselfish players in LeBron and AD and all these other guys when they made their run. Rondo for Lou Will, you're trading away all your points off the bench.
Nope.
Well, a portion of them, because Rondo's not a scorer. He's not known as a scorer in this league. Lou Will can go out there off the bench and get you 18, 20 points sometimes. So I don't understand that trade at all. Like I don't even think it was smart.
I just thought it was funny that they sent him to Atlanta.
To Atlanta,
the land of strip clubs. So he's going to be getting a lot of lemon pepper wings, and having a good time out there
in the Magic City.
So I just think ultimately the Lakers really need to, they need to get powered up for the Nets, and that's what they're going to face in the finals. So
can we talk about the Nets real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Blake Griffin jumping on the bandwagon, jumping on the chance to go and look. I love sports. I love Sports Center. I love the shit they give me. Not all the time. Not their Instagram. The shit sucks.
Yeah.
But I will say, Blake Griffin hasn't scored or hasn't slam dunked the ball in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, two seasons. Then he gets traded to the Nets. He makes his debut. And the one thing I got in my fucking feed is Blake Griffin making his first dunk in 2 years. Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm not going to clap loud because he doesn't deserve it. Look at his stat line. He played 4 minutes. He went 1 for 2 with a slam dunk. Now, the Nets, what are they doing there with Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin's washed up.
Oh, yeah.
Blake Griffin hasn't been the same player since the Clippers. So I don't understand. And I think that's where some of this is coming from with the Laker fans, because they see a team that is expected to win a finals. If they don't, it's kind of a bust in the Nets. So, but they're picking up pieces that are kind of like when you pick up Cousins. You pick up these players that have been good in their career, but aren't the same player anymore. People expect you to kind of match those moves and plan for that. You don't have to plan for Blake Griffin. No. Blake Griffin is not the guy who he was. He was progressing as the years were going on, but he never really got over the hump. And on top of that, he let that trade to Detroit just demolish his demeanor, his fight for the game. He didn't want to go out there and win,
Yeah, and definitely you saw it the way he played with the Pistons, and now jumping on the bandwagon with the Nets. Like you were saying, I don't see what he brings to that team. There's really no like it to me. It didn't fit a need. It was just more of like, let's bring another former
name.
star player that people know. Oh, you got Griffin, you got Blake Griffin. Now you're stacked again. No, like I haven't seen anything from this guy in the last 2 years. He's become basically a 3-point shooter who doesn't play great defense. So what is it? What's really bringing? There's nothing there that they needed. You know, if he would have been cool to come to the Lakers because we need height on this team. But overall, I just don't see it with him. I mean, the Nets are good as it is, but I don't think he, like you said, I don't think he brings great, firepower.
I'm sorry, but you leave Blake Griffin. You leave him in Detroit.
In Detroit, yeah.
You let him sit there. No heart. He got no heart.
Yeah.
And I talked about that with players. They got no heart. You leave him. That's it.
Well, they bailed him out.
They bailed him the fuck out. They obviously they traded him away to Detroit for a reason. He sits there. I say you leave him there. Some players, they got no heart. They deserve to stay where they're traded away. That's just how I feel.
Do you feel like the Nets not winning a championship this year is a bust?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you say that they're the favorites? That they would be the favorites going into a matchup against the Lakers?
I would say they're favorites in the East.
Okay.
But I think if they make it to the finals, if they don't win, it's a bust.
Yeah.
I mean, you fucking picked up James Harden. You already had a stacked team. You got KD. You got Kyrie. You pick up Harden, and then all the other names are irrelevant. Yeah. Forget Griffin. Forget everybody else. Those guys right there. You got the big three. And on top of that, I mean, and this is what I want to talk about too. People want to talk about the Houston Rockets and how they suck. Yeah, they fucking suck. You took their best player. Mm-hmm. He traded himself away. And then you look at the pieces that they picked up. There's nobody there, right? So they're on like a 21 game losing streak, whatever it is. They're not going to be good. We expected that. But one thing that I'm not going to give Harden the credit, he didn't get you out of the first round. He didn't get you out of the second round. He didn't get to a finals. Yeah. So what are you comparing it to? You comparing it to not making the playoffs as opposed to not having a chance in the playoffs? I'm not giving Harden any credit, but on a team where he's stacked with KD and Kyrie, if they don't do something, at least push a game 7 in the finals, it's a bust.
Yeah.
That's what I feel about the Nets.
I agreed. And to your point about the Rockets, I do think that they get a lot. I'm not a Rocket fan. I can actually despise the Rockets, regardless if they're good or they're bad. I just, going back to when they won the championships, I never cared for the Rockets. I don't care for anything Houston, as a matter of fact.
You haven't been to Magic City. Or not Magic City, but that nightlife.
Oh, Houston? In Houston?
Yeah.
You been?
No, but I've seen some things. Have you seen BET Uncut?
I love BET Uncut.
Okay.
I love BET Uncut. I guess let me rephrase that. I hate Houston sports, if that makes any sense. Right?
Okay, that makes
there
more sense.
I'm gonna check out BET Uncut. I'm gonna check out, do my due diligence on the background, see what it's all about. Right? Maybe take a visit out there one day. But as far as like the Houston Rockets, I'm not a fan. I actually respect them more this year that they suck so bad. And they know they suck, so they're trading their pieces. They're going to try to regroup, and they're always come back better. Houston always comes back better. I feel like what we talked about a long time ago when Harden first got traded. I don't respect that. Like, you were a bona fide MVP caliber player, and you're going to go and join 2 other bona fide MVP caliber players on their team. So, like, yeah, I just don't. I don't. They got to do something. Even if they go to Game 7, I think it's a bust still. Like, You're gonna lose to the Lakers with AD and LeBron, you know? So, yeah. But kind of shifting sports a little bit, talk a little bit baseball. We got the Dodgers now playing in spring training. I'm personally don't watch any spring training because I don't care. I don't buy any of the spring training merchandise because I don't care.
I feel like that was a little bit of a shot right now. It was a little dig.
Is that a spring training hat?
You know what it is.
But there is a lot of
he's playing over there.
There's a lot of excitement right now with the Padres and the Dodgers. There's a lot of good baseball going on in Southern California, right? Really good baseball.
Yeah,
with the Padres and the Dodgers specifically.
Well, I'm excited. A lot of people, they want to run a division. We've ran the division for years. I'm okay with competition in the division. I think it makes the team better. I think it tests you for the playoffs. Like when you had the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Cubs, when you had that division just fucking stacked, every team like had a great record, and you had like the Pirates going home in the wild card game. but like those 3 top teams they're all making the playoffs.
Great records.
Great records.
Yeah.
That was a great division. I wouldn't mind competition in our division. You had the Giants, who always came in like on a wild card that won a World Series, but it's not a bad idea to have a strong division. So it's exciting for our division. It's exciting for the league, and I think ultimately it gets you ready for the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and I really hope that they start letting people back in, especially at least at a certain capacity, because I'd love to go to one of those games. That used to be the cheap game on the calendar where it wouldn't be too expensive to go.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be cheap anymore. It's gonna be price. I might have to save my money to go to watch the Dodgers Angels games.
Yeah, and their fans are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you go to Anaheim to watch them.
Yeah, their fans are like Anaheim fans. They're not really baseball fans, but like they're fun to be around.
Yeah. No, they're the cool people. They're really fun.
They're really cool.
I am fun to be around.
Their stadium is amazing. I'll probably take a visit down there
it
too.
is. Yeah. It's not hard to beat the Dodger Stadium, but whatever.
But yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of good talent on those games. You got Tatis, you got Seager. Now they're trying to see who's a better shortstop. Overall, I think power wise, it's going to be Tatis, but I love Seager. I think he's great defensively, offensively. So it's going to be an exciting season. I don't have too much to talk about baseball yet because obviously I don't pay attention to spring training. But stay tuned. It will be good, and we'll have a lot of information.
And I want to say this to probably wrap it up, right? LaMelo Ball, he's already starting his injury. He's already starting his injury thing, and maybe we'll get into that next week because he's expected to miss a lot of games.
End of the season, he's done.
Right. And then the other thing I want to get into next week is the Mike Tyson Evander Holyfield fight.
That's going to be good.
So we'll get into that, even though I know it's going to be 2 old men fighting in the backyard again.
But I love it. It's nostalgia. I'm going to go back to the
unfinished.
That he
it's unfinished business.
Is he going to bite off his other ear?
I hope so.
No, I hope not. I love Mike. I love how Mike is now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah. Hey, I hope LaMelo comes back strong, though. And we'll talk about it a little bit more next week.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Thank you for tuning in.